You're not supposed to see this. The danger isn't on the menu. It's behind the kitchen door, in the spreadsheets, and in the empty freezers no one talks about. I've spent months pulling health records, closures, and insider testimony, and what I found is worse than prices are rising. If you rely on big chains to feed your family, some of your go-tos could be gone before December 2025. Stay with me. I'll show you the proof, and when we reach Chapter 7, the one safe brand that isn't will shock you. Number 1. The hidden danger behind the menu. You probably think the danger is inflation, or maybe the shrinking burger in your hand, but it's deeper than that. What's happening behind the glowing signs and sizzling commercials is a collapse nobody wants to talk about. I've seen the inspection reports, the layoffs, the shuttered kitchens, and if the trends hold, dozens of major chains could vanish before December 2025. Behind every menu lies a survival story, and most of them are ending badly. Restaurants that once fed America are now fighting just to keep the lights on. Prices of beef, dairy, and oil have spiked more than 30% since 2023. Supply chains that used to deliver fresh ingredients every morning now arrive half-empty, if at all. So corporate managers slash corners instead. Smaller patties, cheaper fillers, reheated meat. They call it efficiency. I call it desperation. One former regional manager told me straight, "We used to throw out questionable meat. Now we season it and sell it before anyone notices." Think about that the next time you unwrap a burger that tastes off. When profits die, integrity follows. And it's not just hygiene. It's economics. Rising wages, higher rent, and endless debt mean chains are bleeding out faster than they can rebrand. The government calls it market correction. Insiders call it triage. When you see national names closing hundreds of stores overnight, that's not a marketing move. That's the early warning sign of a food system breaking under pressure. Here's the part marketing never admits. The decay starts quietly. A dirty freezer, a missing thermometer. A manager told to make do, but multiplied across thousands of kitchens, it becomes national rot. By the time customers taste the difference, it's already too late. Stay with me, because by Chapter 7 I'll expose the chain everyone still thinks is fresh, and why it is one health inspection away from disaster. For now, remember this. If it's cheap, fast, and still open in 2025, you're not saving money. You're volunteering as quality control for a collapsing industry. Number 2. Jack in the Box. For decades, Jack in the Box was the cult favorite. Tacos at 3 a.m., burgers with egg rolls, chaos that somehow worked. But in 2025, those quirky combos can't mask what insiders call a controlled decline. Prices have jumped nearly 40% since 2021, while ingredients have slipped to the lowest quality tier the chain has ever used. I pulled recent consumer review data and supplier invoices. The numbers tell the same story. Cheaper meat blends, fewer fresh shipments, and a menu built to hide shrinkflation. What used to be the Jumbo Jack, a thick, juicy burger you could depend on, now feels like a relic. Dry patty, soggy bun, and toppings assembled by a crew racing the clock instead of caring about taste. An ex-shift leader in Phoenix told me the night schedule has been cut in half. We're down to 2 people cooking and cleaning everything. If the fryer breaks, we just keep going. That's not customer service. That's survival mode. This isn't just about one chain's mistakes. Jack in the Box is the blueprint for what happens when inflation collides with desperation. Every dollar they lose to food costs, they recover by shrinking portions, lowering standards, and betting that you won't notice under dim lighting. It's the same formula echoing across the industry. Maximize appearance, minimize effort. The result? Meals that look like fast food but taste like foreclosures. The flavor's gone, the fun's gone, and soon the franchise count might be gone too. Analysts predict up to 20% of locations could close before December 2025 unless traffic rebounds. So when you swing by at 2 a.m. for nostalgia's sake, remember, you retasting the side effects of a national downturn. A warning of what's coming to every budget chain that can't afford quality anymore. In the next chapter, we'll visit another fallen monarch, the self-proclaimed king who's now losing his crown, one soggy Whopper at a time. Number 3. Burger King. Once upon a time, Burger King ruled the fast food kingdom with flame-grilled pride and a promise: have it your way. But by 2025, that crown has slipped, cracked, and rolled straight into the fryer. The so-called king isn't leading anymore. He's just trying to survive. Insiders call it the Whopper problem. It's not just about the food. It's about trust. Customers are suing because the burgers they're served look half the size of the glossy ads. That gap between promise and reality isn't an accident. It's a symptom of a collapsing system that values marketing over honesty. Behind the scenes, the flame-grilled aroma that made Burger King famous now masks the stench of cost-cutting. Cheaper beef blends, frozen longer than ever before, condiments diluted to stretch inventory, and buns that one manager described as wet cardboard with sesame seeds. The decline isn't random, it's mathematical. When your franchisees are drowning in debt, every gram of meat becomes a line item. So they slice, they stretch, they substitute. One insider told me, "We can't afford to cook to spec anymore. We cook to survive." That's not efficiency. That's collapse. This isn't just a burger story. It's a mirror of the American economy. Once, we had confidence, flavor, and choice. Now we have inflation, compromise, and illusion. Burger King still pushes ads promising real flame-grilled perfection, but step into any location, and you'll see the truth. Empty dining rooms, overworked staff, and food that tastes like defeat. The king has become a ghost of himself, a relic of an era when quality mattered and loyalty meant something. Today, the crown isn't made of gold. It's made of plastic, cracked under the weight of greed and mismanagement. And yet millions still line up because familiarity feels safe, even when it's toxic. That's the real danger. Not the calories, not the cholesterol, but the complacency that keeps people buying into a system that no longer serves them. By December 2025, analysts expect dozens of franchise closures, particularly in low-income areas, the same neighborhoods that once kept the king alive. History repeats itself. When the middle class fades, the fast food follows. And if Burger King falls, it won't be the last. In the next chapter, we'll talk about nostalgia and why clinging to the past might be the most dangerous habit of all. Number 4. White Castle. White Castle is more than a burger joint. It's a piece of Americana, the first fast food empire, the birthplace of the slider, and the inspiration for road trip legends and midnight cravings. But nostalgia doesn't pay rent, and in 2025 even icons are bleeding out. Those bite-sized burgers once symbolized comfort. Now they represent compromise. The same steam-grilled patties that built the brand are now victims of supply shortcuts, staffing shortages, and food safety oversights. One former manager told me bluntly, "When you order a Crave case today, you're gambling. Some batches are fresh, some have been sitting for hours. We just don't have the people to keep up anymore." This is how decline hides. Behind memories. Customers keep going because they remember when it was good. But nostalgia has a half-life, and in a collapsing economy, sentiment doesn't fill stomachs. White Castle's old-school charm, its retro signs, tiny burgers, and cheap prices, are now the very traps keeping it afloat. The problem is the math. When inflation pushes meat, oil, and transportation costs up 20–30%, there's no room left for quality. Chains like this depend on volume. Thousands of sliders per hour, perfectly timed, perfectly cheap. But when labor dries up and ingredients double in price, the system implodes. Health inspectors have already flagged several locations for sanitation issues. Mold near prep stations, improper refrigeration, and spoiled onions. These aren't isolated incidents. They're a pattern. Corners are being cut nationwide, not out of laziness, but survival. White Castle is the perfect metaphor for 2025 America. Beloved, historic, and quietly falling apart. The public keeps cheering for it even as it crumbles. Why? Because we crave familiarity in chaos. We want the illusion that something from the past can still protect us. But comfort food won't comfort you when the economy turns cold. Here's the harsh truth. Nostalgia won't feed your family in a shortage. The time to prepare isn't when the drive-thru closes. It's now. Learn to cook, stock up, and stop depending on convenience to keep you full. In the next chapter, we'll talk about the empire that refuses to fall, McDonald's, and why its survival might be the biggest warning sign yet. Number 5. McDonald's. If Burger King is the fallen monarch, then McDonald's is the empire that refuses to die. Not because it's strong, but because it's too big to fail. The golden arches still shine on every corner, but behind that glow is a machine powered by efficiency, not integrity. It's America's comfort food, built on predictability. And in 2025, predictability has replaced quality. McDonald's knows exactly what it's doing. Every burger, every fry, every melted slice of cheese product is engineered to hit your brain like nostalgia. That first salty bite reminds you of simpler times, even if the ingredients barely qualify as food anymore. The secret isn't flavor, it's familiarity. And familiarity sells, even in a collapsing economy. Especially in one. In 2023, McDonald's rolled out a list of improvements. Softer buns, meltier cheese, extra sauce. Like a PR stunt to distract from a bigger problem. The beef hasn't changed, and neither has the business model. The patties are thinner, the portions smaller, the price higher. That's not innovation. That's controlled shrinkflation disguised as progress. I've spoken with franchise employees who admit that consistency is the only standard that matters now. We're told it's not about being great, it's about being the same, one told me. That is the real slogan, not "I am lovin' it," but "At least you know what you're re-getting." But here's the danger. When a system this large standardizes mediocrity, it defines the national palate. The truth is, McDonald's is a symbol of how America survives decline by lowering expectations. When people can't afford fine dining, when groceries become a luxury, when time disappears under overwork, they go where the experience is easy and the outcome predictable. That's why this empire will outlast its rivals. Not because it's good, but because it's comfortable in collapse. Next time you grab that quarter pounder, remember, you're not just buying a burger. You're re-buying into a system that thrives on dependency. Cheap dopamine for a nation running on fumes. And yet beneath the surface, cracks are forming. Health violations, viral videos of filthy kitchens, touchscreen kiosks covered in bacteria. It's all out there if you look. But most don't. They can't. They're too busy trying to stay afloat. In the next chapter, we'll peel back the glossy retro veneer of Sonic Drive-In, the place that promises fun, flavor, and nostalgia, but hides the chaos of an overstretched, crumbling operation. Number 6. Sonic Drive-In. Sonic sells you a fantasy, the throwback dream of drive-in diners, roller skating servers, and milkshakes under neon lights. It's Americana bottled and carbonated, the illusion that maybe life isn't falling apart. But in 2025, even that illusion is breaking. Behind the cheery ads and smiling car hops lies a kitchen on the edge. Sonic's biggest secret isn't its limeade, it's its inconsistency. One store delivers the perfect burger, another hands you a lukewarm mess that tastes like regret. That gap isn't about bad luck. It's about survival shortcuts. Corporate memos show staff cuts, delayed shipments, and cost-saving menu simplifications. Translation: fewer fresh ingredients, more reheated components, and food that's designed for speed, not satisfaction. The same fryer oil might be used far past its prime. The same meat might be held hours beyond safe temps. A former district manager told me bluntly, "We don't fix problems anymore, we cover them with ketchup." That's not an exaggeration. It's an industry strategy. When profit margins vanish, perception becomes everything. Bright colors, upbeat music, 2 for $5 specials. All distractions to keep you from noticing the corners being cut. The illusion of choice keeps customers calm, while the system erodes beneath them. And yet, there's something almost poetic about Sonic's decline. It mirrors the middle class. Juggling too much, pretending everything's fine, barely keeping the wheels spinning. America itself has become the drive-in. All flash, no fuel. The warning signs are everywhere. Franchise owners defaulting on loans, locations closing quietly at night, health departments citing expired meat and untrained staff. But Sonic keeps skating along. Because image is all that's left to sell. If you're listening closely, the collapse isn't coming. It's already here, disguised as half-price burgers and happy hour slushies. The difference between now and 10 years ago? You can taste the panic in every bite. In a healthy economy, Sonic's chaos would just be bad management. In a broken one, it's a symptom of the disease. The truth is simple. When corporations can no longer afford quality, they sell you nostalgia instead. Up next, we'll visit the chain that built its entire empire on that promise of freshness, Wendy's, and reveal why even their never-frozen beef isn't it too safe from the cold realities of 2025. Number 7. Wendy's. For years, Wendy's built its entire identity around one promise: fresh, never frozen. It was the brand's moral high ground, the idea that, unlike everyone else, Wendy's still cared. But in 2025, even that slogan feels like an artifact of better times. I've spoken with franchise insiders, former cooks, and delivery drivers. They all tell the same story. Freshness has a shelf life, and it expired when inflation hit double digits. When beef prices spiked and supply chains fractured, never frozen quietly turned into never guaranteed. Some locations are still doing it right. Others? They're cutting corners, fast. Corporate training videos used to emphasize precision, correct cook temps, consistent assembly, cleanliness checks. Now, staff are being told to move product and reduce waste. That means patties sitting longer, produce wilting on counters, and buns reheated instead of replaced. One shift lead from Ohio said it best: "If it looks okay under the heat lamp, it goes out." It's not just about food. It's about trust. Wendy's became famous for roasting competitors on Twitter, but lately customers are roasting them back. Online forums are filled with photos of soggy buns, missing toppings, and fries that taste like they were cooked in regret. It is not random. It is a reflection of a workforce that has burned out, underpaid, and running on fumes. Every broken promise, every cold burger passed across the counter, tells a bigger story. That even the good chains are buckling under the weight of a collapsing economy. When middle-class families can't afford to eat out, companies start chasing pennies. And when they chase pennies, you lose quality. Still, Wendy's isn't gone yet. Their Baconator can still hit hard when done right. But that's the exception, not the rule. It's a coin toss now. A 50-50 chance between satisfaction and disappointment. And that inconsistency is poison for any brand built on trust. The moral here? Don't confuse a clever slogan for security. Fresh doesn't mean safe anymore. Not in a market this desperate. And the next time you see that smiling redhead logo, remember, it's not a promise, it's marketing. Up next, we'll talk about the one chain that is defying the odds, the quiet Midwestern underdog proving that integrity still matters. But even their success carries a warning for what's coming next. Number 8. Culver's step into a Culver's. And it feels like you've entered a different timeline. One where customer service still exists. The food actually looks like the picture. And the staff smile because they want to, not because they're told to. Culver's is the outlier, the calm eye in a storm of decline. Their butter burgers are fresh, hot, and unapologetically indulgent. They don't pretend to be fast, because they're actually cooked to order. The fries come crisp, the custard thick, and the restaurant's clean. It almost feels unreal in 2025, like stumbling across a working time capsule of how America used to run. But here's what most people done, TC. Even Culver, isn't immune. Behind that small-town charm lies a reality every franchise is fighting. Rising costs, staff shortages, and shrinking margins. The difference is that Culver's refuses to cut corners, even when it hurts. That's why they're winning for now. I spoke with a Wisconsin owner who said, "We lose profit every quarter, but we'll never lose quality." That's integrity. And it's rare, but it's also unsustainable in the long run. When you refuse to cheapen your product while everything else around you inflates, you eventually price yourself out of reach for everyday families. And that's the tragedy. Culver's is doing everything right. Quality food, fair service, community trust, yet even they are being pushed to the brink by the same forces crushing the rest of the industry. When the middle class is shrinking, excellence becomes a luxury, not a standard. For now, Culver's stands as a warning wrapped in buttered buns. Integrity costs more than ever. And in a world where most people are just trying to stretch paychecks to the next Friday, that kind of honesty is becoming rare currency. If you're lucky enough to live near one, support them. Because one day, chains like this might vanish. Not because they failed, but because the system failed them. In the next chapter, we leave the Midwest charm behind and step into the sleek, urban promise of Shake Shack, the chain that proved quality could go mainstream until inflation turned it into a luxury only the few can still afford. Number 9. Shake Shack. There was a time when Shake Shack was the gold standard of fast casual done right. A gourmet burger you could grab on your lunch break. Real beef, fresh toppings, that pillowy potato bun that practically whispered, "See, you can have quality and convenience." But by 2025, that whisper has turned into a warning. What was once the face of innovation is now a casualty of inflation. The average Shake Shack meal, burger, fries, shake, now costs nearly as much as a sit-down steakhouse dinner did 5 years ago. And that's not an exaggeration. It's economics. Premium ingredients, once their advantage, have become their Achilles heel. I've looked through financial filings and industry data. The chain's supply costs have spiked over 25% in just 2 years, while foot traffic has dropped in double digits. Families who once splurged on Shake Shack as a treat night now skip it entirely. The company's response? Smaller patties, pricier combos, and new menu specials that disguise price hikes with fancier names. A former regional manager told me, "We used to serve a $9 burger worth every penny. Now it's a $15 version of what used to be great." That's the story of 2025 in one sentence. Same meal, higher price, less satisfaction. Even the consistency that made Shake Shack special is cracking. Reports of cold fries, undercooked patties, and burnt buns have multiplied. Why? Because the company can't afford full crews anymore. When you pay premium prices but get budget execution, something's breaking. And it's not just your wallet. Shake Shack's decline isn't about mismanagement. It's about a market that no longer rewards doing things the right way. As the cost of quality climbs, corporations have two options: compromise or collapse. Shake Shack's trying to stand in the middle, but the ground beneath them is crumbling. Here's the truth. Most won't say aloud. In a collapsing economy, quality becomes a luxury, and luxuries don't survive recessions. So next time you see that glowing Shack logo promising something better, remember? It used to be the future. Now it's a forecast. Up next, we'll meet the chain that refuses to compromise. One that built its reputation on excess, grease, and unapologetic indulgence. And why even that model can't survive what's coming. Number 10. Five Guys. Five Guys doesn't sell burgers. It sells experiences. A greasy, glorious indulgence that dares you to finish it. For years, it stood apart because it didn't pretend to be healthy, cheap, or fast. It was honest about one thing: excess. But excess has a price. And in 2025, that price has finally come due. Walk into a Five Guys today, and your wallet feels lighter before you even order. A burger, fries, and drink can run you nearly $20. It's no longer a treat. It's a luxury item wrapped in foil. When costs soared, Five Guys didn't downsize portions. They doubled down on identity. Real beef, peanut oil, fresh toppings, and customizable orders. But those principles, once their strength, have become their financial downfall. Maintaining premium everything in a collapsing supply chain is like bailing water from a sinking ship with a paper cup. An insider I spoke with described it perfectly. We're not losing customers because they don't like the food. We're losing them because they can't afford it twice a month anymore. That is the silent crisis. The slow erosion of the middle class. The group that made Five Guys thrive. When disposable income disappears, indulgence dies first. Even the brand's famous fries, hand-cut daily, fried in peanut oil, have faced cost-saving tweaks. Smaller scoops, recycled oil, and lower-grade potatoes are creeping in. You can taste the difference. But corporate messaging doesn't change. They still market the same authentic experience, even as the foundation weakens. It's a microcosm of the larger economy. We're paying more for less, pretending nothing's changed. Five Guys isn't unique. It is the canary in the coal mine for every premium fast food brand that thought loyalty could outpace inflation. Customers are noticing. Social media is filled with side-by-side photos. Old overflowing fry bags versus today's half-filled servings. The comments say it all. Still good, just not worth it anymore. That's how collapse begins, not with outrage, but quiet resignation. In a world where survival costs more every day, indulgence becomes the enemy. Five Guys built an empire on abundance, but you can't serve abundance when scarcity rules. Up next, we'll travel south to the chain that defied the odds. Whataburger, the Texan legend where generosity, hospitality, and customization still reign. For now, because even legends can't outrun what's coming. Number 11. Whataburger. Everything's bigger in Texas. The burgers, the portions, the pride. For decades, Whataburger embodied that spirit of Southern abundance, bold flavor, warm service, and the kind of customization that made every meal feel personal. It wasn't just fast food. It was family food. But even Texas can't outcook a global crisis. In 2025, Whataburger still feels alive. Sizzling griddles, smiling crews, and loyal fans. Drive-through lines snake around blocks in Houston and Dallas. But beneath the surface, insiders whisper about thinning margins, staffing crises, and an unspoken fear. We can't hold this quality forever. The chain's success lies in what's killing it. Fresh ingredients and made-to-order meals. That model thrives in a healthy economy, but bleeds cash when inflation spikes 20% and beef shipments arrive half-frozen. One supplier confessed, they refuse to switch to cheaper meat. It's noble, and it's bankrupting them. That stubborn dedication has kept Whataburger's fan base loyal, but the cost is immense. Utility bills up, labor costs up, delivery delays turning 10-minute orders into 30-minute waits. Customers notice. Reviews mention slower service, smaller patties, and uneven seasoning. The quiet signs of a system straining to stay authentic in a world that rewards shortcuts. And yet, there's a purity here that other chains lost years ago. You can still walk in and order your burger exactly how you want it: jalapenos, avocado, triple patty, extra bacon, and know someone's actually making it, not microwaving it. That's the good news. The bad news? That level of care doesn't scale in a collapsing economy. Whataburger stands as the last of the giants that refuses to sell out. But loyalty and legacy don't pay the bills. If inflation doesn't ease, analysts predict regional closures by mid-2026, especially in smaller markets already running in the red. The lesson here isn't just about burgers, it's about resilience. Whataburger shows what happens when integrity meets inflation. You can do everything right and still lose if the system is rigged against quality. And as Texas tightens its belt, even the mighty Whataburger may have to choose: raise prices again or lower standards. Either way, the South's favorite burger is running out of road. Next, we head west to the chain that built an empire by doing the opposite, keeping it simple, staying small, and surviving where others collapsed. Number 12. In-N-Out. If Whataburger is the Southern feast, In-N-Out is the West Coast sermon on restraint. No gimmicks, no confusion. Just burgers, fries, shakes, done exactly the same, every single time. It's the minimalist empire that somehow defied the chaos of 2025. While others added new menu items and lost their identity, In-N-Out doubled down on discipline. Every patty is cooked to order. Every ingredient sourced locally. Every employee trained to precision. It's not marketing, it's survival strategy. The tighter the system, the fewer weak links when the world starts breaking apart. That's why In-N-Out still holds lines around the block. Customers trust it. The food might be simple, but it's consistent. And in a collapsing economy, consistency is gold. One regional manager told me, "We don't chase trends, we protect the process." And that philosophy is exactly why they've avoided the widespread chaos hitting everyone else. Still, cracks are forming. Supply costs are rising even here. Wages in California are pushing overhead higher. The famous $3.95 double-double can't stay cheap forever. When inflation hits, even the cleanest operation feels the heat. But unlike the competition, In-N-Out refuses to expand recklessly or cheapen ingredients. That discipline buys time, not immunity. Their secret weapon is simplicity. While other chains juggle 50 menu items, In-N-Out focuses on 10. Fewer moving parts mean fewer chances to fail. That's the same principle preppers live by. Stock what matters, perfect what lasts. The system works because it's built on control, not chaos. Even so, survival has limits. If beef prices surge again, or California tightens food regulations, even In-N-Out will be forced to adapt. And adaptation means either charging more or offering less. For now, they've chosen loyalty over profit, and customers reward them for it. But here as the takeaway: In-N-Out, as strength isn't its food, its focus. The world's falling apart because corporations chase expansion instead of excellence. In-N-Out does the opposite. And that's why it remains one of the few chains that hasn't lost its soul. Yet. In the next chapter, we'll uncover the surprise winner of them all. The quiet California underdog that has been slowly rising above the chaos, serving quality without the hype. The Habit Burger Grill. Its secret? Turning survival into an art form. Number 13. The Habit Burger. In a world where chains are shouting louder than ever just to stay noticed, the Habit Burger Grill whispers and wins. No neon mascots, no viral gimmicks, no limited-time bacon explosion. Just char-grilled burgers done right. And in 2025, that quiet consistency has become revolutionary. Founded in California, The Habit has never been about hype. It's about ritual. Burgers cooked over open flame, fresh veggies sliced daily, a clean kitchen you can actually smell before you see. While competitors race to cut corners, the Habit doubles down on craftsmanship. And somehow, in the middle of a nationwide restaurant collapse, they're still expanding. I dug into why. On paper, it shouldn't make sense. Higher costs, pricier ingredients, slower prep times. But here's the secret: discipline. The Habit runs lean, localized supply lines, keeps its menus tight, and avoids debt like poison. That focus on small-scale control is exactly what's saving them while others drown in corporate chaos. Their signature charburger still costs less than a Shake Shack sandwich and tastes better than most 20 gourmet meals. That's not luck. It's balance. They don't try to be everything. They just try to be good. An employee told me, "We're not chasing sales. We're chasing consistency." That's a business philosophy America forgot. The Habit also wins because it remembers what made eating out special: food that feels handmade. That rare authenticity has turned casual customers into lifers. But even here, warning lights flash. Rising rents, beef shortages, and shrinking margins loom large. They're holding the line, but the tide's rising fast. Still, their story carries a message. Simplicity and integrity can survive chaos. For a while. The same way families who budget, garden, and cook at home will outlast those waiting for systems to save them. The Habit's success isn't accidental. It's strategic resilience. The same mindset preppers use every day. But don't mistake their growth for safety. When the food chain breaks again, and it will, even the disciplined will struggle. The Habit might be winning the battle, but the war for America's food future is already burning behind closed doors. In the next chapter, we open those doors and expose what's really happening behind the kitchen walls of the nation's biggest chains. What's rotting there isn't just food, it's trust. Number 14. The hidden danger. By now, you've seen the pattern. The burgers getting smaller, the prices climbing higher, the service stretched thinner. But here is the truth most people want to face. This isn't about restaurants anymore. It's about the decay of the entire American system. Behind every corporate logo lies the same story: cost-cutting, corner-cutting, and cover-ups. The restaurant industry is just where it shows first because food exposes everything. You can fake optimism. You can't fake flavor. I've read the inspection reports. I've seen the internal memos. From coast to coast, the same rot spreads: cross-contaminated kitchens, unsafe storage, and management trained to minimize issues, not fix them. It's not negligence. It's survival instinct. When profit margins evaporate, safety becomes optional. Take Red Lobster, once the king of seafood. Now it's drowning under bankruptcy filings, pest issues, and spoiled product. Or Olive Garden, where former employees leaked footage of filthy prep areas and reused ingredients. These aren't isolated, bad locations. They're symptoms of systemic breakdown: underpaid staff, undertrained managers, and overstretched supply chains. Cracker Barrel, P.F. Chang's, TGI Fridays, even Denny's. All hit by health violations, labor lawsuits, and customer horror stories. Some locations fail inspections and reopen within days because they simply can't afford to shut down. The health of the system, and the people eating in it, no longer matters. Only survival does. This is how decline hides in plain sight, behind smiling servers and glowing, family-friendly signs. Americans keep eating out because they don't want to believe that safety is disappearing right alongside affordability. But look closely. The lights are dimming, the standards fading. Here's what no one's saying out loud. This collapse isn't random. It's the logical result of a society stretched to its breaking point. You can't pay workers poverty wages, charge customers premium prices, and expect the middle to hold. The restaurants aren't just failing, they're reflecting us. The decline of the dining industry mirrors the decline of the dollar, the labor force, and the American household. Everything that once felt dependable, your paycheck, your favorite meal, your sense of normalcy, is becoming unstable. And when that kind of instability hits the food supply, it's not just bad service. It's a warning, because if the kitchen that feeds millions can't stay clean, what happens when the grocery shelves start thinning next? Stay with me. The next chapter isn't about fear. It's about action. The question now isn't who's collapsing, but how do you survive when they do? Number 15. The final wake-up call. By now, the pattern is clear. What's happening inside these restaurants isn't just about bad burgers or dirty kitchens. It's about a nation running out of integrity, out of time, and out of options. Every spoiled patty, every hidden health violation, every overpriced value meal is a red flag waving in your face. But most people aren't looking. The restaurant industry has become a warning system, one that most Americans are too distracted to hear. When the economy cracks, you see it first in food. When companies can't afford quality, they start gambling with safety. When the middle class stops eating out, those same chains cut corners to stay alive. And when they finally collapse, the ripple hits everyone: suppliers, truckers, farmers, and eventually, your own dinner table. We're living in a slow-motion food crisis, disguised as business as usual, but you don't have to be caught off guard. The same way the habit survived by staying small and disciplined, you can build that same resilience at home. Start simple. Cook at home more often. Not just to save money, but to take control of what's on your plate. Learn to store food properly, to rotate what you buy, and to think ahead when shopping. Keep a 90-day supply of non-perishables. Not out of fear, but out of foresight. Because when shortages hit again, it won't be just restaurants closing. It'll be grocery aisles running empty. Remember, the people who panic are the ones who didn't prepare. The ones who prepare are the ones who survive. And preparation isn't just physical, it's mental. Stop trusting convenience. Stop assuming the system will fix itself. The same corporations that couldn't keep your lettuce clean aren't going to keep your pantry full when the next supply shock hits. This isn't about fear-mongering. It's about responsibility. If the last few years taught us anything, it's that the comfort we took for granted, the open restaurants, the stocked shelves, the quick meals, can vanish overnight. So ask yourself, when it happens again, will you be ready? Because the real collapse doesn't start in Wall Street boardrooms. It starts in kitchens like these. And the next chapter of America's survival story will be written by the ones who saw the warning signs and acted in time. You've seen the cracks, you've heard the truth. Now it's on you to act. Don't wait for headlines or shortages to wake you up. Start now. Stock what matters, learn what lasts, and take back control of your food, your money, and your future. If this opened your eyes, hit subscribe, share this with someone you care about, and join us in building resilience before it's too late. Because hope isn't a strategy, preparation is.